Welcome everyone, it's Shari Carroll for Simon Says Stamp with a color coordinates for you, and I've titled this one Spring Has Sprung because I really like these fresh colors for an Easter card. I've chosen 6 colors for this combination, and they are Watermelon, SUNKIST, Duckling, Key Lime, SCUBA, and Wisteria. I've chosen 6 colors because I'll be working with the wavy egg die, and it does have 6 colors in it, so I've added in 1 extra than I usually do. For this card, I'll be working with Nina White cardstock, and I've cut a panel 4 1/4 to 5 1/2, and I am just pencil tracing the egg die around an area where I want to have my colorful egg sit. To create my background, I'll be die cutting the wavy egg all around the area except for where I'm going to have my raised colorful pieces. I have my finished die cut piece, so you can see that I have that blank area. I've also reserved the cutout pieces, so I have plenty to work with and color. I'll be gluing my die cut piece onto a panel of cardstock, and to do that I'm using the E6000 spray, and this is a really great spray, especially for all those little tiny pieces. So you shake this up really well and spray it over the back side of your piece. I am just spraying onto a paper towel, and I'm making sure that I have everything covered, and I've never had any leaching to the front, so this is a really great glue, especially for small or detailed pieces. With my panel of cardstock ready, I am just making sure I have it well aligned and then pressing down my pieces real gently. You want to make sure that you just press right onto the top without pulling the paper so you don't get any warping. And once it's glued down in place, I have a white on white background with that egg pattern. I'll be coloring those little inside pieces of the egg, so I've used my adhesive to put onto some scratch paper, and I can place one piece at a time. I'll be coloring them each individually. The adhesive will keep those in place while I am using my blending tool over top. I've started off with watermelon at the top, and right now I'm doing SUNKIST. I'm going in rainbow order. So the next color after SUNKIST will be Duckling, followed by Key Lime, then SCUBA, and finally Wisteria. I've added another line of adhesive to a piece of scrap paper, and I'm moving my pieces over so that they sit on that adhesive. I'll be adding some collage medium or multi-matte medium to the top, and once I have these covered, I'll be spraying them with my glitter duster and rock candy glitter. I love this duster because you can add as little or as much as you want. So once I'm done, I have a nice little sheen finish on each of my pieces. To assure that these don't stick too badly to the paper, I pull them up right away, and I'm just using my poke tool and putting them on a non-stick surface. For part of my message, I'm using the Simon Says Stamp die, Bunny Kisses, and Easter Wishes, and I'll be using just the Easter part, and I'll be cutting 3 of those from Nina White cardstock. I'll be adding a little bit of watermelon ink to the bottom of the Easter, and I've added some more adhesive to some scrap paper, and I'm placing my Easter word on top, and this will stay in place while I use my blending tool to add some color. Once again, I'm using the E6000 to spray onto each of these layers, and when I have all 3 stacked up, it's almost as though it's a chipboard. I'm ready to do some assembly on my card, and the first thing I want to do is erase those pencil marks that I created on that background. And then I've die cut that wavy egg onto one of my scrap pieces of paper, and I'm adding a little bit of adhesive to the back, and I'm going to put my finger over it just to make it less tacky. I'll be using this as a guide to put my pieces back in order onto the card. I've added a little bit of foam adhesive to each of these pieces. I'll just peel off the backing. And using that guide and remembering which color goes where, I'm starting in the middle with the green. I can just place it right into the center of that egg. I'll be putting my last piece on top, and I want to make sure that everything is pressed down really well, so I'll give it a good press down, and now I can remove my guide or my mask just by pulling on one side and making sure those pieces stay in place. Once I have it going, I can remove the rest. And now my egg sits freely, but in the exact shape of the die. Here's how my card is looking. The egg is nice and sparkly, and I have an interesting background. To finish this off, I have white embossed the word happy onto some fog cardstock, and I have cut a piece of silver paper and mounted the Easter on top. I hope I've given you some inspiration with this color coordinates for spring card making. And be sure to check in the description box below. I do have a link to our blog post where you can download the PDFs for all the color coordinates we've made to date, and you can make your own swatch book. And as always, thanks so much for joining me.